Can you think of some reasons why you wish that somebody had told you you could do this like 10 years ago?
Oh, well, I mean, it would have avoided a lot of things. I mean, it would have avoided this, which is, you know, the worst thing I've ever had to deal with. But it would have avoided a lot of illnesses and things along the way that it would have been better to have known. It would have been better to have been working this, and yeah.
I'll just give you two of mine. For me, like if I had discovered this 10 years before I did, Maria Heenan and Jackie Buzan are two reasons.
Right.
They would be alive.
Right.
And Jackie would have wiped cancer off the planet.
Right.
Jackie was, she was unstoppable. You know, Jackie was one of my assistants back when I did my seminars, and she was the first, well, maybe the only woman I had ever been with, and have ever been with, you know, as a lover, who died.
Right.
And I met her about 2 years after her first mastectomy. And I was, you know, with her a couple of days before she died. There were a bunch of us there with her. And she was half in a coma at that point. She was 43, I think, or 44. And she was the doctor who ran the cancer support groups at Pennsylvania Hospital, which was cutting edge. Back then they didn't have support groups in most hospitals. And she used to go on TV and radio all the time being interviewed. She was gorgeous. She had beautiful black hair, olive skin, she was just beautiful. You know? And plus, she was unstoppable. And she would have wiped cancer off the planet had she been handed this. But I discovered it. She died in '86, and I discovered it in '93.
Yes.
And Maria died only 18 months or so before I discovered it, also of cancer. See if you get a signal on that.
That's yes.
Well, so now we're starting to learn what it's like to get signals. What it's like is you get extremely contradictory and paradoxical answers, and then you have to ask more questions and trace the thing, trace the information.
Right.
So this is what people need to know about getting signals. It's they can't figure it out, you know. And you see, but these two conflicting signals could mean a bunch of different things. Number one, they could mean you're being interfered with. Number two, they could just both be right. You cured it, then you got it back 10 minutes later. That's quite maybe you know cured it at some one day for 20 minutes over the past week or so.
That's possible because I was removing it from my body pretty consistently.
Yeah. So you were pounding away at it, and maybe you...
I was.
Did your physical sensations change when you did that?
I think, yeah, I did a couple of days ago when I was really working hard at it. I did feel better for a while. Okay,
well then you're going to have to learn. That's what it is that you're going to have to learn. And you haven't learned yet. So this is going to take a little time, but don't worry, you know. You'll learn at some point. You will learn to avoid pain and go towards the good feeling. That's what everybody needs to learn. All of the people who come in here need to learn to go to the good feeling. None of them know to do that. But there's a lot of other things you're going to have to learn too. You want to know what another one is? I'll just tell you now because we don't have a whole lot of time to continue, but I'll tell you another one. And the other one is you're going to have to learn to treat yourself as a convalescent. Get everything out of your way and spend all of your time curing this disease and feeling good. Get the idea?
Yeah.
And that means all those responsibilities have to go out the window. And I see you're a very responsible person. And you need to be responsible about curing yourself right now.
Right.
That's what you need to be responsible about. Because otherwise, you will cream your family and yourself with all your good intentions to, you know, make dinner for them and everything else you're supposed to, whatever you think you're supposed to be doing. You can't do it. You're sick. If you were flat on your back in the hospital, they wouldn't expect it. So go take a 2-hour walk in the forest. You can bring your kids too if you want, and do this, you know, and feel good, and just, you know, pick up some dinner on the way home. Just get everything out of your way. Hire somebody to come in, whatever you need to do, because it's going to cost a lot less to do it now than it will later. Those hospitals are like $6,000 a day.
Right.
So, my little Jackie died. But see, you know what, I'll tell you about Jackie. See, the thing about Jackie is Jackie would have known. See, Jackie was somebody who knew all this stuff. You know, I must tell you a story about her. Jackie was dying of terminal cancer. She was dying, okay? There was nothing more anybody could do. No more operations, no more chemo. It was over. She was dying. And she had some months left, you know? Now, I announced a brand new course that I was planning on doing because our courses had always been a weekend, and Jackie was one of our assistants. She used to volunteer, you know, a few nights a week. She'd come from the hospital over to grab dinner, and she'd come over to our place and get on the phone and call people and ask them to do our courses and stuff. And she was just somebody who she was a hard worker. Anyway, so there she was, you know, she was dying, and I announced this course, and Jackie stood up. I had these meetings every 2 weeks of all my assistants in Philadelphia, and she stood up and she said, I am going to be at the intensive. That was the name of the course. She said, I'm going to be at the intensive. I don't know how I'm going to do it, because it wasn't that easy for her to walk at that point. And this other woman, Leslie Dolan, I'll never forget Leslie Dolan, stood up. And Leslie Dolan was a very, like, mainline kind of Philadelphia girl, you know, with, like, perfect blonde hair and everything. She's about 40 or so. And she stood up and she said, I will take responsibility for Jackie being at the intensive. Jackie, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to spend the intensive with you, and I will. And, you know, that's what she did. Like, I remember them walking up the hill, and she was practically carrying Jackie. You know, she had her arm around Jackie, and Jackie had her arm over Leslie's shoulder, and she just carried Jackie through the intensive. So, boy, what a person she was. What a gem, you know, to have in my life. That she was wonderful.
Yeah, it's nice.
She was like one of Franny's best friends at the time. Well, anyway, so that I don't know. I just. So anyway, she knew, you know, she knew what you will learn. You're going to learn, don't worry. Okay, so on Friday what we're going to be doing is lessons.
Okay.